While watching my older brother play basketball, I shot a quick text to my online boyfriend. Babe, I'm at a game right now. No way. Me too, beautiful. Really? Then good luck out there. A few minutes later, my brother's team was getting boxed out by the rival squad. The score was painfully tight. I jumped out of the bleachers, cupping my hands around my mouth. Go, babe. You're the absolute best. Thud. The moment the words left my mouth, the rival team's captain dropped his basketball right onto the hardwood. Yes, we got it. Final minute on the clock. My brother sank a clean three-pointer, completely flipping the score and securing the championship title. I practically vibrated with excitement, jumping up and down in the stands and waving frantically at him. Reginald, you were incredible. What are you doing here? My brother grabbed the water bottle I held out to him, wiping the sweat from his forehead with the back of his jersey. I told him I had just gone to the campus bookstore to print some syllabi. On my way back, I heard the squeak of sneakers and the buzzer from the court. He had texted me about the finals earlier this week. I remembered, so I took a detour to watch. His teammates started trickling toward the sidelines to hydrate. When they saw me, their eyes went wide. Pierce, since when do you have a gorgeous girl hanging around? Back off. Reginald shot his teammate a lethal warning glare. The guys just laughed it off, though their eyes kept drifting toward me with blatant curiosity. I couldn't exactly blame them. I was a brand new freshman. Reginald was a grad student. He had gotten early admission to his master's program, locked himself in a lab for a major physics project, and hadn't been home in half a year. He wasn't even there when I took my finals or applied for colleges. By the time I got accepted into his university, he had essentially moved me into my dorm on day one, patted my head, and vanished back into his laboratory. This was the very first time I was officially standing in front of his friends. Hi everyone, I'm Harper. I offered them a polite smile. I was just about to add that I was Reginald's little sister, but he cut me off entirely. All right, show's over. Head back to your dorm. Text me if you need anything. He snatched my tote bag off the floor and handed it to me. He stood tall, deliberately blocking his teammates' line of sight like he was shielding me from a pack of wolves. I blinked, totally lost, but nodded obediently. Whatever. The game was over anyway. I needed to get back to my room and text my boyfriend. I wondered how his game went. Oh, right. Reginald, that three-pointer was insane. I got it on video. I'll send it to you later, I bragged. A highlight reel like that deserved to be immortalized. Reginald's face softened into an exasperated smile, and he waved me off. I turned on my heel to leave, and immediately slammed face first into a solid wall of a chest. Smack. Ow! My phone slipped from my grip and clattered onto the polished wood floor. I froze in a panic, dropping to my knees to grab it. Before I could even look up to see who I had hit, Reginald's entire demeanor shifted. He took a sharp, aggressive step forward. Brooks, what is your problem? She bumped into me. The voice was cold, flat, and completely devoid of emotion. It felt like a layer of frost settling over my skin. I couldn't help but shrink back a little as I finally looked at the guy. I recognized him, but I didn't actually know him. He was the rival captain Reginald had just gone head-to-head with. The same guy who nearly crushed my brother's team a few minutes ago. Why the hell were you standing right behind her blocking the way? Apologize to her. You're out of your mind, Pierce. Maybe the adrenaline from the court hadn't worn off yet. Reginald's voice dropped to a dangerous octave. The way he was looking at this guy was entirely different from his usual teasing arrogance. He pulled me behind his back, glaring holes into the other captain. But the other guy wasn't backing down either. Neither of them gave an inch. The air between them felt thick enough to spark a fire. Seeing the situation escalating purely because of my clumsiness, I tugged anxiously at the hem of Reginald's jersey. Reginald, stop. It was my fault. I wasn't looking. I had just started college. The last thing I wanted was my brother getting into a fistfight on my account. Reginald set his jaw, turning his back to the guy to look down at me. Just go back to the dorm. It's fine. Don't start a fight. I won't. I gripped the straps of my tote bag tight. I nervously peeked over Reginald's shoulder at the rival captain. He was already looking at me. His gaze was dark, heavy, and razor sharp. It was terrifying. It felt like he was trying to nail me to the floor with his eyes alone. I didn't dare stay a second longer. I mumbled a quick apology to the air and practically sprinted out of the gym. Nope, absolutely not. I had to tell my boyfriend about this immediately. That guy was a nightmare. The second I unlocked my dorm room door, I pulled up my messages with Ro. Babe, are you there? I just got so scared. While I waited for his reply, my roommates filtered in from their afternoon classes. Someone asked if I'd actually gone to watch the basketball finals. Yeah. How was it? Which of the Twin Stars won? I blinked. Twin Stars? My roommate stared at me like I had just admitted I didn't know how to read. Professor Harris's Golden Boys. The physics department prodigies. Professor Harris was an absolute titan in the academic world. His standards for taking on mentees were notoriously brutal. Because he was retiring in a few years, he had stopped accepting new students entirely. But this year, he made an unprecedented exception and took on 2 final graduates. He publicly stated they were the brightest rising stars the physics department had ever seen. Before they even officially joined his lab, they had represented the university in an international physics decathlon and brought home gold. The university had their faces plastered on the website's homepage for an entire month. My roommate pulled up the university's unofficial Instagram gossip page, scrolling to the paparazzi-style photos the campus admins had posted of the 2 of them. I took one look. Wait, isn't that Reginald? He was that much of a big deal? A wave of intense, unbothered pride washed over me. My mood instantly skyrocketed. Oh, my brother won. Your brother? Yeah, this guy. He's my brother. I pointed proudly at Reginald's photo on the screen. The dorm went dead silent for a solid 5 seconds. Then, they burst into laughter. Harper, stop messing around. How could Reginald Pierce be your brother? Exactly. You guys have totally different last names. You don't even look alike. I sighed. I knew this was coming. I had heard this exact script hundreds of times since I was a kid. But this time, I came prepared. Look, here's our official family registry, and here's a family portrait from last Christmas. I pulled out my phone and swiped to my favorites album, holding it up with a smug grin. My roommate's jaws hit the floor. I kept going. I took my mom's maiden name, Sullivan. He took my dad's last name, Pierce. As for not looking alike, that was just genetics. but if you looked really, really closely at our eyes, you could see the resemblance. A moment later, a collective shriek echoed through the dorm. Oh my god, Reginald is actually your brother? Yep. They would have met him on move-in day, but he was in such a rush to get back to the lab that he literally dropped my boxes in the lobby and sprinted away. My roommates couldn't hide their excitement. They practically begged me to introduce them the next time I saw him. They wanted to breathe the same air as a certified campus legend. I agreed easily. No big deal. Then someone asked another question. What about the other one? Your brother works in the same lab as him. Do you know him too? Who? This guy. My roommate swiped to the next photo. She told me this was the other star. I looked down. Wasn't this the guy I literally just crashed into? Judging by the photo, it was taken during halftime. He was sitting on the bench, a white towel draped around his neck, black and white jersey, dark hair pushed back with a sweatband. He was leaning forward, elbows resting on his knees, staring down at his phone like he was texting someone. Whoever took this photo deserved a Pulitzer. How did they manage to make a guy with a death glare look like the brooding male lead of a coming-of-age movie? It was the most liked photo on the entire campus page, mostly because the guy was looking down at his screen with a faint, barely there smile. What was he smiling at? I had only seen him look like he wanted to commit a felony. I don't know him, I said, shaking my head. My roommates looked a little disappointed and were about to pivot to a new piece of gossip when my phone buzzed on my desk. My boyfriend finally texted back. Hold on, I have to reply to this. I tuned out my roommate's chatter and unlocked my screen. Ro, beautiful. I just got out of the shower. What happened? I originally wanted to vent about the terrifying guy at the basketball court, but after the whole conversation with my roommates, the incident didn't feel like a big deal anymore. Nothing, babe. Just missed you. How was your game? The typing bubble popped up. He went quiet for a full minute before sending a single word. Lost. Oh no. He must be crushed. My heart squeezed. My fingers flew across the keyboard trying to comfort him. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get them next time. It was just a bad matchup. In my heart, you're always the MVP anyway. I fired off 4 or 5 texts in a row. Sensing my panic, he sent back a cute sticker of a cat patting another cat's head. It's probably because I didn't have you in the bleachers cheering for me. The other team had a lot of girls screaming for them today. Oh, so that was it. I spammed him with a dozen hard-eyed stickers. He went quiet again, but I could see the typing indicator flashing on and off at the top of the screen. He was hesitating. Babe, do you want to say something? Can you send me a picture of yourself? Huh? Ro, I just really want to know what you look like right now. Without overthinking it, I scrolled through my camera roll and picked a candid I took right before the basketball game today. Here's my OTD for today. Honestly, my heart was hammering against my ribs. I stared at the screen, waiting in pure agony for his reply, but he didn't say anything. What was happening? Did he think I was ugly? No way. My mom used to put me in child modeling catalogs. In high school, a talent scout literally tried to stop me at the mall. Plus, my selfie lighting was immaculate. There was no way I looked bad enough to render him speechless. Why aren't you saying anything? Am I ugly? I frowned at my phone. Please don't let this be a disaster. We were supposed to meet up in person soon. I hadn't even touched those abs yet. I was instantly regretting sending the photo. Then his text came through. No, you're beautiful. Really? Swear to God. I swear. Thank God. I let out a massive sigh of relief, but the typing indicator popped up again. He clearly wanted to say something else. I waited and waited. Nothing came through. I didn't have time to overthink it because my roommates had finally caught on to my giggling. They swarmed my desk. Harper Sullivan, fess up right now. Who are you texting? Is that a boyfriend? After classes the next day, Reginald texted me to meet him at the graduate dining hall for dinner. I shoveled rice into my mouth. Looking at how casually Reginald was eating, I carefully plotted my next move. Hey Reginald, can you transfer me some cash? Didn't I just send you your allowance last week? I had to buy textbooks and dorm stuff. It vanished. I gave him my absolute best puppy dog eyes. Reginald sighed heavily and pulled out his phone. Sent. I eagerly opened my banking app. Thank you. Wait, why is it so low? He usually sent me 1,000. This time it was barely 100. You blow through money too fast. You need to learn how to budget. I glared at him. Do you want it or not? If not, send it back. I want it. I want it. Even pocket change was better than nothing. I smiled sweetly and accepted the transfer. Reginald finished his meal and stood up. I have to get back to the lab to check on a simulation. Finish your food before you leave. Got it. Once Reginald walked away, I lost all motivation to finish the liver. I poked at my rice with my fork. That was when I noticed a guy sitting a few tables behind where Reginald had been sitting. Wait, wasn't that the terrifying guy from the gym? He ate here too? Since when? I hadn't even noticed him sitting there. Curiosity got the better of me, and I stared at Henry Brooks for a few seconds too long. Maybe he felt me looking, because those icy, razor-sharp eyes snapped over to mine. He didn't say a word. He just picked up his tray and walked right past my table toward the exit. What the hell? I apologized to him yesterday, didn't I? Why was he still looking at me like I owed him blood money? I shook it off, headed back to my dorm, and texted Ro again. Babe, did you eat yet? Yeah, just finished. Then another text popped up. Do you need money right now? Huh? What did he mean? Before I could even process the question, a transfer notification hit my screen. Incoming transfer, $5,000. I sucked in a sharp breath. Why did you just send me this? For you to spend. I have money. My parents and Reginald already gave me an allowance. My savings account was completely fine. I was just typing out that I didn't need it, but his next text stopped me in my tracks. Keep it. It's a gift. You don't need to send it back. Spending money on my girl is exactly what I'm supposed to do. My face flushed hot. I couldn't stop grinning. I slapped my own cheeks to calm down. Fine. I'll keep it. The next few weeks fell into a totally normal college routine. I had just finished dinner and was lounging in the dorm when my roommate suddenly sat bolt upright in her bed. Holy crap. You guys, you have to read what just got posted on the campus confessions page. She dropped a link into our group chat. Anonymous confession. What do I do if I found out the girl I like has another boyfriend?
The dorm exploded. No way. That's got to be fake. Wait, there's more. My roommate cleared her throat dramatically and continued reading. I met her by accident. She's funny, kind, and somehow manages to make every day brighter. I thought I had a chance. Then I found out she already has someone she's been talking to online for a long time. I don't want to cause trouble, but I can't stop thinking about her. The comments underneath were even worse. Fight for her. Online boyfriend doesn't count. This is definitely about someone on campus. Tell us who she is. I laughed and tossed my pillow at my roommate. Poor guy. Poor guy? She cried. This is premium gossip. The post quickly became the hottest topic on campus, but I didn't think much of it. Until 3 days later, I was walking out of the library when someone stepped in front of me. Henry Brooks. My soul nearly left my body. The campus heartthrob stared down at me with his usual unreadable expression. Harper. Henry. For several agonizing seconds, neither of us spoke. Then, he sighed. Can we talk? Every survival instinct I possessed screamed no. Unfortunately, curiosity won. We ended up sitting on a quiet bench near the physics building. Henry was silent for so long that I almost got up and left. Then he suddenly asked, "How long have you been dating your boyfriend?" I blinked. About a year. His jaw tightened. Oh. The disappointment in that single syllable was so obvious that even I couldn't miss it. An awkward silence followed. Finally, I gathered my courage. Henry, was that confession post about me? His eyes widened slightly. For the first time since I'd met him, he looked genuinely caught off guard. A few seconds later, he laughed. Actually laughed. The expression transformed his entire face. You figured it out? It wasn't exactly subtle. Henry rubbed the back of his neck. I wasn't planning to say anything. I didn't know what to say. Thankfully, he continued. You don't have to worry. I'm not asking you to choose or trying to interfere with your relationship. He stood. I just didn't want to keep pretending. Then he gave me a small smile. I hope he knows how lucky he is. And with that, he walked away. I sat there frozen, feeling strangely guilty and very confused. That night, I told Ro everything. The confession. The conversation. Henry admitting he liked me. For once, Ro took forever to respond. Then a message appeared. If I told you something crazy, would you be mad? I frowned. Depends on how crazy. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, a photo arrived. I opened it. My brain stopped working. The picture showed a familiar black and white basketball jersey hanging over the back of a chair, a physics lab in the background, and a face I recognized instantly. Henry Brooks. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Then another message appeared. Hi. I'm Ro. I screamed so loudly that 3 dorm rooms opened their doors. The next day, I dragged myself across campus in a daze. Every embarrassing conversation, every heart sticker, every time I'd called him babe. Every single one had been Henry, the same Henry I'd been terrified of since the basketball finals. The same Henry who thought I had another boyfriend, because he never realized that he was the boyfriend. When we finally met outside the physics building, neither of us knew where to start. Then Henry looked at me and said, So, still think I'm scary? I remembered the months of messages, the late-night calls, the money he'd secretly sent me, and the confession he'd almost buried because he thought I belonged to someone else. I started laughing. Hard. A moment later, Henry laughed too. For the first time, the distance between the boy behind the screen and the boy standing in front of me disappeared completely. Sometimes people spend years searching for the right person. Apparently, I managed to date him online, cheer for him at a basketball game, witness his heartbreak, and accidentally reject him, all before realizing we were the same 2 people. When Reginald found out, he nearly had a stroke, but that's a completely different story. The end.